pocket money.
It is currently, I think it's like 9:30 New Zealand time, so it's 7:30 Australia time. I just got into Auckland yesterday, and what a fucking process that was. So let me tell you all about it before I get on with my first day of quarantine in Auckland, New Zealand. So basically my flight was scheduled for 12:15 p.m. on Tuesday, and I got there at about 9:20 to do check-in. Okay, don't be late, okay? Because check-in took literally an hour and a half, 2 hours to go through. I have never done a check-in that long in years. But literally when I got there, the line was like, it was like down the end of the terminal and then around the corner. Because obviously there's a lot of people wanting to go back. The plane was pretty much full. There was no such thing as social distancing. You were sitting next to somebody else unless you were lucky enough not to. Yeah, went through the check-in process. I ended up getting another bag because personally in New Zealand's weight requirements are ridiculous, or weight limits are ridiculous in my eyes, because I obviously take a lot when I travel anyway, and this time around I pretty much took everything back, so I had to get extra baggage. So the flight was 420 and then it ended up being 480 with the extra bag. And with the bags, you can only have 23 kgs maximum for each. So one of my bags was 33 kgs. The max is 32. So I ended up having to pull some things out and rearrange things. And then I also had to end up paying for the extra 10, which was 160 flat rate, which I was prepared for. I knew that was going to happen because I was taking everything back home. But yeah, just be prepared for that. A lot of people were taking extra baggage. A lot of people were taking oversized baggage. Best bet is to be prepared beforehand, but if you get there, like generally you could just pay for it. But max for each bag is 32. You just after 23 kgs you have to pay for the extra. But yeah, did that check-in process. Before check-in, while you're in the line, you'll have security coming around asking you if you're a permanent resident, if you're an Australian citizen or a New Zealand citizen. We're technically not permanent residents because we are on a special category visa. I know there's different visas depending on what times you came into Australia or vice versa. That's something you'll have to check out, but because I've only been there 6 years, mine's a special category one. And so when they asked me if I was a permanent resident, yes, technically I live in Australia. I have for the past 6 years, but my plan is to come back to New Zealand and just see what happens. So I just said that I was living in Australia, but I'm going back home. And so that was fine. I know the ladies that I sat next to, one of them has been living in Australia for years and years and years. And so she had to fill out a form, which she said was ridiculous. And then you have to give it to check-in staff. I know another lady, she had dual passports, so a New Zealand citizen passport and New Zealand passport and an Australian passport. And she told me that she got denied twice because she didn't have an exemption. She got a refund so she could rebook her flights, but because she used her Australian passport or something, they wouldn't let her leave even though she had dual. So I don't know, that's something that you might want to look into if you have that. I have heard that if you come back from New Zealand to Australia without an exemption, you just have to prove that you live in Australia. So if you've got your Medicare and your license, that usually works. But just because that lady had her dual and she got denied, I would just be conscious of that coming back. But I've had heaps of Kiwis tell me that there was no issue. And if there are like medical reasons and stuff like that, you can obviously get an exemption to not have to go through the quarantine process, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so that was pretty much the process. There was nothing open in the airport except for Subway and this cafe place. So I would recommend eating before you go. The plane ride was fine. It was, I think it was 3 hours. So we were delayed because of check-in. And they told us that, and it was like, yeah, duh, of course, like I can see the fucking line. So when we landed, we had to wait for the Ministry of Health officials to get there. I mean, they should have been there already, but like, that's none of my business, just saying. But yeah, and then we got taken off in groups of 20. So you're pretty much going to be waiting a while. We didn't get back to the hotel until 9:30 after getting off the plane at 6. So you can kind of see how long the process takes. It's a long time. But yeah, so we got off the plane in groups of 20. When we went through to arrivals, we had to sit in sections or stand in sections of 20 while we went through the ministry officials. When we got up to the ministry officials, they took our temperature, asked us symptoms, were we exposed to anyone from COVID that we know of, blah, blah, blah. Once they did that and everything was fine, we then went through customs as per normal. Then we went through baggage claim as per normal, and then we lined up for the buses. The buses, you don't know which bus you're going to get, you just jump on and then they take you there. And then once you're on the bus, when I got here, which is the Novotel, we had to wait and go in groups of 4 to go through the check-in process. The check-in process is also a long process, so it was different. We had to go in, they gave us a sheet with all the food that we could choose, so you get to choose breakfast, lunch and dinner. Obviously the food is really good, by the way, like it's a lot. I may be small, but I eat a fuckload and I can't even finish it, like almost, but not all of it. And I've got like a little thing up of snacks because I can't eat it all. And there's like stuff in my fridge too. Yeah, so the food's pretty good. So basically we got to decide what food we wanted. Then we went around to the check-in process. They basically gave us like documents of pretty much everything we need to know about COVID, about our stay here, etc., what we can and can't do. Yes, you can drink, but you do have a limit and you can only buy from the hotel. You can't have family members bring you stuff. You can get groceries delivered, and I think you can get other food delivered as well if you get sick of the hotel food, but it has to go to reception and then they drop it to your door. All the food is given at set time, so it's around 7, 12 and 6, and they just leave it at your door. They knock on your door and you go and grab it, kind of thing. Laundry you do have to pay, and it's 10 items for $25, which I think is a bit of a rip-off, but you know, you got to make money. All good. So yeah, bring either a lot of clothes or be prepared to just wash them and dry them around your room pretty much. Yeah, went through the check-in process. They also gave us a free SIM card and pretty much just outlined everything that we need to know. We don't have to stay in our rooms. We can go outside and go for a walk for as long as we want, but it obviously has to stay on the premises, so that's pretty good. I went for a walk for about an hour and a half yesterday to get my 10k steps up. What else? Oh, when we were in check-in, we then had to go to a health assessment, and they just ask about your symptoms, if you have mental health issues, that kind of thing, and then you can pretty much get sent upstairs to your room. But all in all, that took like 2.5, 3 hours to do, so it is a long process. I was exhausted the next day. The next day they came and brought my breakfast at 7, and then which woke me up, and I'm still on Aussie time. Even though it's 2 hours, I'm still like dead. And yeah, they did that, and then they got me up again at 8:30 to check my temperature. So I was not a happy camper on the first morning, that's for sure. But now I'm good. I'm all good. What else do you need to know? The rooms. The rooms are pretty fine. Like, you have a fridge, you don't have anything to cook or heat up, you have a TV with some shows, you have Wi-Fi, which is free. That's pretty much it. It's pretty standard. You've got your bathroom, bed, that's all you can really need. And then they come around every day and ask if you need anything, like towels and sheets and blankets and pillows and stuff like that. So you get like tea and coffee, and you've got a kettle. I don't know what family rooms and stuff are. This is just a single room because it's just me. You obviously got the heater and aircon up there if you need it. I mean, it's a pretty good setup. And if you need to call out, you can, but they obviously charge. You can buy other food if you want, but that obviously is charged to you as well. And that is pretty much the process in a nutshell. But if you do have any questions or want to know more about anything, then definitely let me know in the comments below, or give me a message, whichever. I'm happy to help out and answer as many questions as I can. Pretty much everything that I've said is pretty much my experience throughout the whole process. So just counting down the days until I can get the fuck out of here and go do my shit, because I'm sure I'll start losing my mind somewhere along the way. And make sure you subscribe. Okay, bye.